Afternoon, everybody. Typically, I like to see you guys, but I'm not able to see you right now. So, Juanita, you went out. Still, there you are.
Do you want me to put everybody on video or just leave it?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Let me just say this. If you're comfortable putting yourself on video, please put yourself on video. If you're not comfortable, that's okay.
Right. Good. Okay, so the title of this is the 25 Essential Life Skills for Adults to Master by the Age of 30. So the first question is, how many of you are 25 to 35? So by show of hands with Miss Juanita, she can kind of help me.
I have one showing up.
Only one? Okay.
Only one of us is in the whole group? I think there's more than one.
Only one. All right. All right. So, hi, Jonesy. I know her from 15
She's under 35.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you that my true belief is that I follow these 25 steps, and I bet you, without even talking to her about them, that Miss Juanita follows them. And I'm going to suggest to you all that they're really steps that we should all be following, particularly if we are still working. So let's start with the first one, and then I think you will agree. So the first one that skill set that we need to be able to manage is keeping a calendar of our commitments. You know, as we get older, our brains are increasingly crowded with things we need to remember. And so you need to do yourself a favor, and also those you make plans with, of keeping a calendar that you actually look at regularly. So my question for some of you, I like to get good feedback and learn about the tools that people use to do certain things. So are there any of you out there using a tool or platform today that helps you manage your commitments and your schedule? Any takers?
The Outlook. I use Outlook. That's what I've been using a lot of lately because I finally upgraded my phone and I was like, okay, I'm gonna use my Outlook. So that's what I've been using.
That's a
In addition to
one.
my calendar too, I still have to have my calendar. So yeah, I still got.
You and I are just alike. I'm the same way. I use my Outlook, and I also have I love it at the first of the year. I get calendars from realtors free, and I always grab one and use that. So that's a good idea. That's a good one. Anybody else use something else?
I see here somebody said my notepad on my phone and my Google Calendar.
Absolutely. Very good. All good ideas. The key is
yes.
The key is not what you use, is that you use something and you own the fact that you need something. And so I still pinch my husband about this because he thinks he doesn't need anything. And I'm like, that's why I'm always reminding you, because you didn't write it down. So these are things we all need. The second thing that we should all be conscious of is timely gift giving. Timely gift giving. We should start our search for birthday party items or housewarming gifts or any kind of gathering that we're going to attend. We should start early. And by the time we get to the day of the event, we should walk through the door with a gift in hand. You know, it's nothing nicer for people to invite you to celebrate their birthday or to celebrate their housewarming, and you say, "Oh, there's something I really want you to have, but I won't have it for you until next month." You know, that's not cool. So keep that in mind. you will ask yourself, why is this important? And I'm going to tell you whether it's with colleagues, friends, or church member or families. What it does is it demonstrates your ability to be responsible. So first it shows that you care, and then it shows that you're responsible. And that's something we all need to be conscious of, because you never know who is going to be somewhere or who is going to come into a good job or a good opportunity. And they may be looking for someone who's responsible. That is the person that you want to be. Okay. So let's go to the third skill set you should have. Now, Beyonce says, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. But I say, if you purchased a gift, you need to throw a bow on it. Okay. So it's nothing like having that gift wrapped up nicely. We're fully adults, and having a card to go along with it. So I'm going to suggest that you go to the dollar store and keep a small stash of wrapping paper, ribbons, gift tags, and cards in a little drawer or place in your home in the closet, so that when something comes up, you don't have to run to the store. A little tape, I always have tape. And these things you'll pay like $1 for them. It's not that expensive, but it just says something about you when you're able to deliver it. So I would say if you buy the lovely gift, then make sure you put a bow on it. Okay. And for those of you who are like my husband, who is terrible at wrapping, gift wrapping, when you go to that store to purchase the item, check to see if the store doesn't have a complimentary gift wrap. A lot of stores, particularly nicer stores, will have those. And then sometimes even there are kiosks there that aren't that expensive. The other last thing I will tell you is, if you know that you're not a good gift wrapper, buy the dollar little bags, gift bags. And all you have to do is stuff in a little, what do we call it? Paper. I forget the name of the paper, but the little thin paper that you get, and you just, the tissue paper, thank you. Stick in the tissue paper and have a card, and that's it. Okay, you're good to go. So those are the tips on, another tip on how to show how responsible we are. Number 4 is all around making dinner reservations in advance. Nothing drives me crazier than to go out to dinner with a group of friends or church members, and no one has put us on, made a reservation. And I don't know where you guys, where you all are in the DC, Maryland area. If you don't have reservations, man, you're going to be standing and waiting forever to get into a nice restaurant. Some restaurants in the area require actually that you book them 30 to 60 days out, depending on how good the restaurant and the food is. So if you, want to make a good impression on your best friend's parents who might be in town near you, and you want to just go out to, they want to go out to dinner, have a couple of restaurants in your pocket that you know are affordable and have a good rating, and that you can call, make a dial up or go online and book a reservation. Okay? So just keep that, or that favorite aunt. It might be your favorite aunt coming to town. The next, and this is one where I would tell you, don't believe the hype that it's an antiquated idea, because it still rings true today. Sending thank you cards. That's a big one. You have no idea how important and significant this is. Many of us are in our work years and we're still trying to grow in on the job and meet different people. when you send someone a thank you card, you stand out. I'm not talking about an email or a text. I'm saying get yourself a box of dollar thank you cards and go to the post office, have a book of stamps, and make sure that you use those when you want to thank someone for something that they've done for you. Many of us on a regular basis have people doing just small, very nice things for us. And it's important that we acknowledge it, okay? So, and it also says something about you because the person, when they receive it, they're happy. So they've made you happy, you make them happy. But they also keep you in mind. They keep you in mind for things. Maybe a brother-in-law of theirs needs a certain person at his company. They may think about you, the fact that you're organized, you're together, you're mature, and you sent them a lovely thank you note. It says something about who you are. So I want you to remember that. And it's also an indication that you have entered adulthood. So that's one of them. Anybody have a example of a situation where they used a thank you and it ended up working out in their favor and they hadn't intended, they just did it from the heart? Anybody?
I use a thank you letter for a job interview.
Absolutely.
And it worked.
Very
I got
good.
the job.
All right. All right. So that's a perfect testimony. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. People really,
You're welcome.
people really appreciate it. All right. So let's go to number 6. Handling your health care properly. Now, we're talking here about making sure you have the prescriptions that you need on hand when you need them, making sure that you're not missing your annual doctor's appointments and dental appointments, and making sure that if you have a company plan where you can get money back from the money you spent for eyeglasses or prescriptions, making sure that you keep those receipts and things. So you want to be able to schedule your own meetings and manage your finances. All of these things mean that you have arrived at adulthood. And keep in mind that when you have appointments and are able to manage your finances, I'm going to tell you guys, your parents will look at you differently. So as our parents are aging, they eventually are going to need their children to assist them. We've seen a lot of that in the news with COVID, right? And so what we want to do is have our parents to know that they raised us and we're now ready to support and help them. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Number 7. This one is one that I've always enjoyed, but I'm not able to do as much these days. But that's remembering names the first time around when you meet someone. Isn't it special to be out and about and to run into maybe a former professor or maybe someone that worked with you on a special project and they remember your name? So just as you felt about that person that you've forgotten all about, they remembered your name and called you by name. People the same way when you do that. So I'm going to encourage you, when you meet someone new, try repeating the acquaintance's name back to them, as you're talking. If it's Tim, it's like, well, Tim, what about this? So to help you remember them when you see them again. And the other thing that I used to do, and I still do, is I try to equate something with that person. I try to think of a funny story or something that helps me. Say if it's someone, like I've had people say, oh yeah, I remember your name is Ivory because you have white teeth. So you never know how somebody's trying to consider you going forward, wanting to remember your name. Use techniques that are helpful to you, but it always assists you when, as you are moving up the ladder. I'm going to talk about this a little more, how you need to expose yourself and stay connected with others. Okay. So tip number 8 is around tipping properly. Whether you're dining out or getting a blowout at the salon, make sure you give an appropriate tip. Tipping varies depending on service, but usually 10 to 20% is the going rule of thumb, and it's the going rate for most industries. What I would say to you, when you're in doubt and you're not really sure, ask. People will help you with that ask. And that's something that gets you a long way. I find when we go to restaurants and we tip well and we come back, we have an opportunity to get a better seat or space. And we may not have done it for that purpose, but the waiter appreciates us, right? In the same way, when I go to the salon, how people service me, it's based on how I've assisted them as well. So number 9 is taking care of your clothes. You should iron the clothes that need to be ironed, but don't skimp on those clothes that really need to go to the cleaners. Because when you do that, the clothes then don't look as well. And so we need our clothes as we're out here going into the business world, and we need them to fit well and to look nice because it says something about us. So the clothes will last longer and look better. I promise you, if it says dry clean only, do it. Now, there are certain little things like what I'm wearing or certain little tops. You can wash them by hand. A lot of times women will do that. But otherwise, make sure that you take care of your clothes and get them dry cleaned. Number 10 is all around saying no. And this is one that I really want you to think about, because I'm not saying that you want to say no just for the sake of saying no. What I'm saying is you want to turn down all of these, I should help this person, I should do that. You are in a stage where your life is changing. You have more responsibilities, whether it's work or what have you. And so you got to be thoughtful about your time, because the older you get, the more responsibilities you're going to have. And if you've been thoughtful about your time, you can manage your time. If not, you're going to always be that person where you can't count on her, whether it's at church, whether it's at home with the family, or whether it's at work, because we take ourselves wherever we go. So try to be conscious of saying no when you need to. It's unfortunate, you don't have to be nasty about it, but I'm sorry, I'm overloaded right now and I can't do that. And I've even done this on the job. I had a supervisor that was really pressing me to do some things at one time. And it was during the housing crisis, and I had all of this stuff on me. And I said to him, I understand what you're saying, and I understand that I need to do X, but I have A, B, C, D, E right now on my plate. So is it okay with you if we put this off, because we're getting closer to the end of the year, if we put this off to January 1, where I can really focus on it and do a better job after I finish these things? And to my surprise, he said, that's fair. That's fair, Ivory. And then when he gave me that opportunity, I wowed him, because I was able to do it. So just keep that in mind. Anybody have any times when they had to say no to somebody that they wanted to help, but they just couldn't do it? Anybody ever tried that to see if it works for them? Okay, you guys are generous people. You just say, yep, I'll take you, I'll be there. But if you have to say no because you are, too busy, just do it in a nice way and explain and offer up something else. And like another time when you're available, similar to what I did. So number 11 is about being on time consistently. This is one that I struggle with, but as I age, I get better. So by now, if you have the bad case of chronic tardiness. So stop using it as a crutch and just learn about what you need to do to arrive on time. One of the things I found I needed to do is I needed to have my hair and makeup done about 45 minutes before I leave. Otherwise, I'm going to be late because I'm going to get into something and then I'm going to be like, oh, now I got to get to do my hair and I'm rushing. So I always give myself like a little 45-minute leave time to play with my hair, get it right, and get my makeup on. You have to do whatever trick works for you. But being on time, trust me when I tell you, it means something. And one of the things I found is at work and at church, I will have people invite me when I was at work to conferences to speak. At church, they may say, we need you to speak or we need you to lead this session. They were doing it because they knew I was going to show up, I was going to be prepared, and I was going to be on time. So keep that in mind. It says something about us and how responsible we are, and people can rely on us. So number 12, having business cards. Now, I will say to you, whether or not you are working, you need to try to get you some cards. I was terrible at this, and that's one of my biggest regrets moving up in the world. There are so many advantages of knowing who to connect to and with, and knowing that you have people you can connect with when you need them. And I did a good job of managing all the folks that I encountered over the years that could help me. And so I'm going to encourage you, because you guys are younger than I am and you have all these wonderful tools that you're using daily to help you do that. I don't know if you've heard the story of Oprah, but Oprah talked about that a lot. Staying connected with people. So make sure you have your, what's the little thing on online, your contact list. Make sure you keep it updated regularly. That should be like every week you're updating it. You never know who is who and who's going to be in a certain spot that can help you, or you can call and they can give you a little information that will help you. Okay? And it's just good to stay in touch with people in general. So number 13 is about exercising self-control. It's resisting those impulses to buy things or to drink too much on a night out at work. I encourage a lot of young people. Sometimes it might be controlling your tongue, not saying the wrong thing. I had a young man who worked for me, and he's very, very smart, very good person, but he liked to speak his mind. And I had to close the door and have a talk with him about the fact that he wasn't going to get that promotion that he wanted, and he wasn't going to grow if he didn't learn how to guard his tongue and have some self-control. Know what to say, when to say, and how to say it. And I worked with him for about a year or two, grooming him to do better. Interestingly enough, he went on to become a manager. And now he's managing a field office for the U.S. Department of HUD. And he calls me from time to time to thank me for helping him get there. And so when you are dealing with people, even if it's family, be careful to watch what we say and how we say. Don't be so impulsive, okay? That's a part of being an adult, all right? Anybody have an example of how they used that and controlled themselves to make something a little better and not get out of hand, that they were interested in sharing?
I have something like that, but for me, self-control is more in the financial section.
Okay.
And so when I was younger, if I had money, I would spend it. And so eventually I got to a point where I just said, I need to leave this much in the bank. I need to leave this much in the bank. And every month I would do that. And as time went by, I ended up having enough money to buy a home or to put down for my home, and then still have money for retirement and other stuff by just learning how to leave some money. That's a lot of self-control when you're younger.
Yeah, very good. And that's about the impulse buying. No impulse buying is what Miss Juanita is talking about. That's a good one. So number 14 is about keeping, and this is one, it's like my mantra to everyone in the world, keeping and sticking to your to-do list. Your adult to-do list is more than just a place for you to scribble down all of the things you need to get done. You actually have to do them, and you have to actually continue to look at those lists. If you don't have any to-do list, I'm going to tell you, you're not doing much right now. All of these data shows that people who write down to-do lists and follow them are the ones who are successful. So get yourself some to-do list and then look at them and make sure that you're following them and staying on track. And even if you get off track, it's okay, but you have to start somewhere. So I'm going to encourage you to get a to-do list or get a kind of journal or use the tools and techniques that you have already. Some of you mentioned early on at the beginning of the session that the different tools you were using to keep track of appointments. You want something more detailed like this for your to-do list. Anybody want to share whether or not they use something and they have a to-do list, or they use a to-do list and they found that it works?
I always use the to-do list.
Good. Very good. Very good. Anybody else use a to-do list?
I think everyone in my team uses a to-do list. We all have stacks and stacks of binders with, and it's actually doing the to-do list, what you finish, and then carrying what you didn't finish on to the next day, and then
That's
trying to
right.
get it out any way you can, and then continuing to add to it. And it feels more of a sense of accomplishment when you're doing it that way
Yes,
than just
absolutely.
I know that some of my coworkers do it with the emails. They put them into their to-do lists and
I
then
do
have
the same thing. I use
schedules
everything.
so that they are able to then they pop up like Google.
Yes.
My
Mhm.
Google Calendar will also, I set it up so it reminds me an hour or 15 minutes before of things that need to be done so that I'm preparing for it. And getting the
Wonderful.
to-do list
Very
done.
good. That's a big one. Somebody said, yes, it keeps track of what needs to be done first. Absolutely, Sylvia. Yes, yes. So number 15, everybody knows this one, and everybody's going to say, yeah, we knew this would be on the list. Paying bills on time. It's another thing that you can add to that planner or that list. The bonus skill here is having enough money to automate the payments of your bills. If you are very active, which many of you are young and you're busy, you got your friends, you got your boyfriend, you got your job, you got the family, you're doing all these things. And then you have your entertainment that you're hanging out with people or going to plays or whatever, or shows. You want to get in the habit of making sure you pay those bills on time. You will be so happy. You will be so happy that you've done this when you are applying for a federal job or you're buying a home, or you're seeking a car loan. So please do yourself a favor and start today by paying your bills on time. Number 16 is about staying on budget. Even today, I still struggle with it a little bit, but I get better. There are countless personal financing or financial type apps out there to help you stay on track with this. Download them, stick to them, have a day. I have a day on Sundays, usually the first of the month on Sunday, and I try to go over the budget again. And you don't have to be so strict, but you got to at least focus on it regularly. That's the key, because you can modify, because things happen. You know, maybe you didn't plan for paying your sister, giving her a loan for some emergency. It's okay. You just have to have a set date and time when you're focused on your budget so that you can stay on it, okay? So I would say staying on budget, stick to it, and save yourself the stress and hardship. So number 17 is all about having at least the basics in your kitchen at all times. So this is referring to food, right? So in order to be prosperous, we got to be healthy. So this is all about eating healthy, having a refrigerator with some fresh fruit and some vegetables and some dry goods if something happens. I remember when we came into COVID, one of the things my girlfriend called me and said, the main thing you need to do, I know you're going to the store and you're buying this and you're buying, but buy yourself some staples and some dry goods in the event that the supply chains dry up. You've got something there in the house to eat, some tuna, some rice, all those kinds of things. So this is a good one. So just keep that in mind, because most of you are living on your own. Number 18, having set plans. So if you told a friend that you would help them do something, don't flake on them. It's an important facet to simply not overcommit yourself so you don't have to turn down and not be there on the commitments that you made. This is a big one. It really, really, really speaks to the type of person you are and how mature you are and how responsible you are. And so, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of those things that as you move about in the world, if that's who you are, people start to know that's who you are, and you have more opportunities, more than you can imagine, by just being responsible, okay? And being someone that people can rely upon. Taking care of small home projects is number 19. Being able to install a curtain rod or hang a shelf or know what tools to use in case, you know, they're helping sure that things don't come crashing down. Although we live in a day where you can reach out to TaskRabbit, Home Advisors, Angie List, and get someone to do things for you, it's still good to have an idea of how to do it yourself if it's a requirement, right? So just consider that. And if you are like me and you're not good at home projects, take a Lowe's or a Home Depot class in the summer. They have free ones that'll help you with that. So number 20 is one that's we'll all be faced with before long, and that's paying our taxes on time. Even if you're a total amateur in the world of taxes like me, there's no time like now to start learning and preparing. So you want to just kind of have a sense of the basic terminology. You don't have to be an accountant. When you go to your accountant, you want to be able to talk to them. So Diana, do you have something for this one?
Me?
Yes. I saw you pop up, so I said maybe she had something to share. Well, what I would tell you all is get organized. We're in January, and usually this is the time where I put together our documents that we will have to use to prepare for the taxes. So we're not running around a few days before April 15th. We actually have started putting together your donations that you've made, where you got a receipt, your W-2s if they're out there, or at least know the dates as to when they will come, so that you can take care of your taxes well before, you have everything together well before April 15th. Good. Diana says she has a tax box. Very good, to keep her things in. Good. Be prepared. That's the key. The overarching theme of adulthood is really about being prepared and being responsible. So let's go to number 21. This one, above all else, is to me one of the absolute most important when it comes to financial planning. 21 is about, are you adding money to your retirement account, your 401k, or your thrift savings plan, or your company's retirement plan? What about investing in a little investment like, say, a Vanguard money market fund or something? You don't have to spend a lot, but just a little bit. You should be, if you're not right now and you're 25 or older, start saving in your 20s, and you will have a great, great life further down the line, because you will be able to retire and do the things that you want to do. So I'm going to stop and ask you a question. So I really didn't think about retirement when I was in my early 20s. I came into the government, I was 22 years of age, and I wasn't thinking about retirement. I knew there was a retirement plan, but I didn't really care at the time, because I wanted to buy my nice fancy clothes and shoes and get my hair done and all that other stuff. And one of the young men who worked with me suggested, because we were the same age, Ivory, you should start setting aside some money in your retirement account. And I was saying, I don't have money to do that. He says, you have money to buy those nice dresses. You got money. You don't have to put all of it in. You don't have to put a lot in, but start putting something in. And he was absolutely correct. I started probably around my 22 later in the year, and maybe I started somewhere between 22 and 23. Can anybody guess, from starting at that point to today, about how much money I have in retirement? What do you think, over what, 25, 30 years, just putting a little money aside in a retirement account will help you to get to?
Maybe 500?
That's a good one. Anybody else?
It would depend how much you put in every time that you've had extra money.
It sure would. It sure would. But it's not as much depending on how much I put in, is how much time I left it in.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's the longevity. So I listened to him, and the last time I checked, I had 1.2 million in that account, because I was so young, and I just kept, every year I put in what they said we could put in. Some years I didn't put in all of it because I had other things going on. But what I did is I put it in, and someone asked a very good question, what type of account? It was a specific retirement account. And what I did is initially I was scared. So I put it in the safe stuff. But as I got a little older, like you guys, maybe 25, 30, I got a little more comfortable and I saw that the stocks, the small stocks and the big stocks were doing better. So I put the bulk over there. And over the years, the stock market went up, it went down, it went up, it went down, and it went all around. But I still came out with a good set of funds. The only reason I'm sharing this with you is because if I had known that that was what was going to happen, I would have been pulling all of my friends to do the same thing. But I didn't know what was going to happen. I just took a chance. And I didn't have parents to tell me about investing. And so I didn't really think much about it. But what I would tell you is start today if you're in your 20s, and Miss Juanita will be able to confirm you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. And that's what my colleague who was my age was trying to tell me. His parents had money. His parents knew at that time, Reagan, I think, was in office. His parents knew Reagan. And so he was just saying, look, do this, trust me, you'll be okay. And even if you don't get those new shoes, it's all right, because you are investing in your future. We were young folks back then, and now we're old. So just don't think about it, just automate it, okay? It'll help you.
One of the tips that we give, Ivory, is that when they get a raise, and instead of using the money and spending it, start adding it to a retirement account fund. Remember that if it's taken up pre-taxes, you're not being you're getting more, you know, they're taxing it beforehand. So
Yes.
you're getting more money at the end. Not only that, if you're putting away money into a retirement account, there are times when you can get some tax breaks.
Yes, and the other thing that I was learning as a kid, I learned once I started putting money in, the agency also matched a small portion. If they matched, so I got free money as well on top of what I was putting in. And I'm like you guys, there were years when I couldn't put much in. Something was going on. Maybe in my car, I needed a new car or whatever. The one thing I never did, and I tell people, I never took any money out of that account. From the day I put money in, I never, ever took a penny of it out. That's the first thing. And the second thing is when I couldn't put the money in and I had to take care of emergency, I did it. But I did what Miss Juanita said. As I grew and earned more money, I added the max. When I turned 50, I was able to add far more in, so I put that in. So I just want you to focus on that. Today, you're young, you're cute, you're smart, you're out there, you're doing your thing, but you're gonna be old one day. You know, we're all living longer, and you wanna have a nice little nest egg saved up. And so I just want you to think about that. And like I said, it doesn't take much. And the other thing I like about your work plans, because they have planners who are watching the stocks and things, and they give you information and insight on when to move and where to put your money. They're not in it for the money because the company already pays them. So you don't have to worry about somebody taking advantage of you not knowing. Your job hires someone to manage that account, and that's safety, okay? All right. So number 22 is sticking to whatever type of exercise works for you. Now, I have a colleague, she exercises all the time. She is she's an avid tennis player, and she's pretty good. And she's like, well, if you want to lose this or you want to just come and play tennis with me. And I'm like, girl, I can't play tennis. I'll break my leg. I can walk. So I walk on the trail. We all have to figure out what it is we need to do to keep ourselves healthy. And so we talked about the food, and a little bit of exercise goes a long way. So not going to linger on it, but just find that thing that you can do. And the other thing is, even if you say, I'm physically healthy, it's not about that. It's also your mind. You need to exercise because it helps us relieve stress and have high blood pressure. So, and you don't have to do a lot, only 30 minutes a day, something. So that's one of the things I want you to focus on in the new year. All right, so now we're at number 23.
Yeah, 23.
23 is all about exercising basic culinary techniques, learning how to make like a simple grill on a steak, to putting together a homemade vinaigrette dressing. Mastering essential skills will give you the tools you'll need to kill it in the kitchen for years to come. And I always tell people, remember, most of you are you're gonna get married, you're gonna have children. You need to know how to cook. Enough said there. Number 24, impressing with a few signature dishes. So you should have, when someone invites you over to their home, or maybe a neighbor is having for Christmas, having a couple of neighbors over and they want each person to bring their special dish, you should have a special dish. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. There are a lot of things on recipe.com. One of my colleagues, she would bring in this dish for Christmas for us, and it had chocolate pudding in it, and it had like brownies and whipped cream, and everybody raved over that thing. And she said it didn't take her much time to do, but you want to have a few signature dishes that you can make and take, okay, outside of your home, that's edible for others. Now, my mom is deceased, but I would tell you to not do what my mother would always get on me for, is inviting people over and then I'm making the dish for the first time. She would just simply say, that is crazy. You need to make the dish earlier and make sure you got it right before you start dishing it out to all of us. So I'm gonna give you the same tip. Try it first, see how it works, check it out with a friend, and then make that your dish. And you should have 2 or 3 stored. And number 25, which is our last one, is please, please, please be ready for last minute drop in guests. It happens to all of us, a guest bedroom or not. You want to have the fixings for a last minute guest. So that's, a good set of sheets somewhere and towels, and something that will enable you to be able to have someone to rest comfortably in your home. These were not ideas that I came up with. These were ideas that I stumbled upon. And these were 25 lessons that a number of people came together and decided that 25-year-olds and older, at least by the time they get to 30 anyway, should have mastered these skills. So I hope you found this helpful. And I really liked it, and I was drawn to it and talked to Ms. Juanita about it, because I would love to have had it when I was 25. So this is something I hope will help you on your journey to improving yourselves and to greatness. So Ms. Juanita, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Ivory, and thank you all for joining us. This is a really wonderful workshop. I really enjoyed it. I think that it gives us a lot of great information. It did take me years to master most of these things, but you are right. I mean, I have little things in the guest room that we have extra towels, extra everything, little shampoos and stuff when people show up. And just knowing how to cook at least a number of foods will keep you and save you some money in the long
Mhm.
run. That way you're
Yes.
not having to go out and buy almost everything all the time. All of
Yeah.
these are really wonderful with you. Most of these, if you master them, and this is one of the things that probably I want you to resonate, I want it to resonate with you all, is that it's going to help you reduce your overall monthly costs.
Mhm.
If you're keeping yourself healthy, you're going to have to, you're going to spend less money on medication, on
Absolutely.
insurances, on all of these things. If you know how to cook, you're going to spend less money on going out. If you pay your bills on time, you won't have late fees and your credit score will go up. All of these, you're wanting to look at this in the sense of how is this going to help me become more self-sufficient and increase my income? And that's exactly what all of these skills are going to do for you.
Absolutely. Yes.
So,
Thank you, Miss Juanita. That was perfect.
so just as an FYI, we are having a check your credit report workshop tomorrow, and we're also having the do-it-yourself taxes with Dreams for Change tomorrow. They're going to help you do your own taxes online. So if you want to register for that, send me an email and let me know you've registered, and we'll send you the link. And we just want to say goodbye. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you soon.
All righty. Thank you, guys. Take care.
I will
Thank
look for
you.
Thank
lists.
you. Thank you
I'll
very
make the
much,
list for
guys.
those that
Appreciate it.
asked.
Yeah, I will
Okay.
share Miss Juanita.
I've learned so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's good to see you guys. Take care.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.